Good morning. Right. Market's up a little bit on that inflation number. No big deal. I guess whatever's tomorrow. But pretty much it's run its course as to where it would likely to stall. And it is right up near these pivot highs up there. And where's that right now? Pretty much unchanged, looks like. Right. Futures are up a little bit. Close there. Just a little bit above yesterday's high. So had a good run. Yesterday, we expected a go nothing kind of a day. Is typically what happens after the wide range day, and it was at resistance. We got the narrow range day. No biggie. So just resting. Could it go higher? Yeah. But what we would expect for it to go higher would be some kind of continuation pattern, some kind of corrective price action. And that would probably occur, I guess, today into tomorrow, and then maybe if it's going to go up here, Monday's the holiday, right? So maybe the day after, if it was going after that, I think all bets are off as far as any bullish bets. We'll see where today ends. But what we'd want to see is, see this bar right here? This one right there is what we would want to see. Right, that one. Could be a gap down reversal, but something that takes out one or two bars lows and comes back up again. Something like that typically gives us a good setup where prices could continue. Now that they've gone up from here to here, it's more than likely that momentum will continue to stall. How much it stalls? Well, we see what it did yesterday, and then we'll just see, does it break the low? So our factory work, as we like to call it, our first reference point of support is a prior day's low. Pretty simple, since it held that. And so as I line that up on the hourly chart, that's around here, 12:30 and 30. No, that's the next day. What's 12? Right around here. This little congestion right there. That's the low. So it's nothing of great significance, but because of the wide range bar, we've got a void below. And we'll see. See if it holds. If it holds yesterday's low, it's a little bit above yesterday's high. It's got room to go up, but it's unlikely to go very far. All right. So futures, I pretty much show the same thing. Stalling here, little breakout and stall, not a complete failure. It would have to break down under that low right there, that little intraday support there. Greg, what is the high on the daily SPY chart far to the left? Up here? So that's an intraday high. So you got a closing high. You can see the number there on my cursor. I don't really care to have the exact number, but you can see it's around 457, 458, give or take. And then that high up there, the gap and reversal day is 459 and change. And you got unfilled gap right here, which, I would pay attention to. So on the close, somewhere in here, 456, and then you can go and look. You want to look on the S&Ps, which I don't know if it's going to fill in the data on SPY. No, it's not. TC 2000 fills in SPX, but not SPY. Anyway, so you can see where things are at here near the pivot, and then it's got this gap fill. So if we were to get a correction bar today, what's a correction bar? It breaks the prior bar's low and it comes back up again. Right? So like saying, all right, there were buyers on the dip, and then if it can take out that high, maybe tomorrow could be an up day into this gap fill area. So we'll see. We'll see. Right now, momentum is stalling. You can see what's happened here pre-market, and maybe it's just going to jiggle around here. I don't know. Is there any other news coming out? There's a Fed guy talking at 9 o'clock. Chicago PMI at 9:45. Natural gas, I don't think anybody cares about, but Chicago PMI is going to come out at 9:45. So you wouldn't want to get blindsided by that. Consensus is 44.1. So maybe you want to keep that in mind, but okay. So SPX. Yesterday I said it was a no-brainer. It was up here 45.70. Never even got close. I mean, that was as close to a no-brainer means there's a possibility, but as far as no, it's impossible. That ain't never happening. And so today is 45.65 into this unfilled gap. And I don't see that as happening either. Now the 44.80, look, buyers are in control, but that's kind of close. So I'm not loving that one. But up here, I think that not as good as yesterday, but that's pretty good too. I like that. All right. Futures are stalled, right? Up at resistance, minor resistance, stalled there. Look at the way they're coming down. So news came out, big anticipation, inflation numbers popped up a little bit, heading down. So there's going to be more selling since prices came from down here to up here. You look to the left and say, oh, odds on momentum is going to stall. High risk increasing for longs. That doesn't mean short, but hey, some things that have been holding up. What was this one yesterday, Dan? D-Dog? DDOG? I think that was the one. It's been holding. There you go. So here's one in a downtrend. It's holding here, but set an alert under yesterday's low. And maybe now is the time where it's going to give it up, where it looked like it was going to go down, but the market doing well. Sellers back away. Look at a little consolidation there. So set an alert and see if it'll come down to yesterday's low. See if it gives it up. Right. So there's an idea worth just setting an alert on. The Dow pretty much lagged yesterday. Now it pushed up into this resistance and it's stalling. So stalls happening everywhere. What we're going to might see today, tomorrow, if it chops around up here, we may get a sell setup. So while others look like maybe they can go higher, this has got a more significant resistance to the left there. And it's kind of your classic sell setup. Just don't have any kind of a trigger yet. And maybe, ideally another bar where Friday would chop around and then one day, next week, we'll see if it rolls over. Russell coming up to the sell area, 50 MA, congestion, momentum starting to stall. Probably needs another day or so hanging around up here before it would roll back over again. And we don't look at the VIX too much, but you can see, that's been stubbornly saying pretty low. Different times where it looked like the market would go lower, it came back in. So this is coming down to where it's been reversing. So, keep that in mind. Interest rates so far, they're coming down into a buy area. So they had this nice uptrend, a nice run, it's pulling back. I don't know, eyeball it, whatever it is. It's coming into this unfilled gap somewhere in here where buyers are going to show up, and we'll see how much that starts moving up. The dollar is up here. As you can see, the little dots, but we can look at the euro. And flipping back down, but could be in a bottoming process. So But that is coming in. So that, as we know, has put some pressure on the markets as the dollar's gone up. So keep an eye on interest rates, or keep an eye on TBT. And it's where it is right here. So, the way it came down yesterday was a nice down day and helped, held the markets up there. But the way it came down, it helped the markets go up. We were looking at this, and if you remember, our scenario was, hey, our internals gave us a heads up for a buy, but we wanted to see interest rates start coming down in the dollar, and that happened, and the markets rallied. So now things are coming back into areas where maybe interest rates stabilize. If they start moving up, dollar moves up, and you don't have to have the internals here. Sentiment is still down here. That's a plus, but you can see breadth has gotten to an extreme. So some risk for longs. The great setups probably will work out, but maybe not as well as they did over the last few days. Keep that in mind. Transports, they had the little kind of catch-up pattern there. A lot of the transports really didn't participate much. As I looked at different stocks yesterday, I don't think the rails moved very much. There was a little bounce in some of the airlines, which we talked about at the beginning of the week. Not much of a bounce, so pretty anemic there. And even we looked at FedEx yesterday, and it was like, it's just okay. It's on the 50, but this thing should have got moving a few days ago. Now it's coming into resistance. So I don't think the transports are going to play any kind of catch up here. But what else? Gold isn't really doing much. Coming up in the trading range there. Silver, just really haven't had much interest in any of these, just choppy trading range scenarios. And oil, it's pretty bullish price action. We talked about this earlier in the week. We were talking about, I think, whatever it was, about when prices run from the bottom of the range to the top of the range, and they start going sideways at the top of the range. And you can see more sideways on the weekly here, but they'll pull back and it's coming back up. It's making a higher range. So on the daily chart, where this maybe goes sideways for a few days, we're going to keep an eye on this for next week, because if this breaks out, that's going to be something else that's likely to put some pressure on the broader markets, and there's those inflation fears. And if interest rates are going up and the dollar starts breaking out and the dollar's going up, well, that scenario plays out bearishly for the broader markets, and we come, after the holiday and all that. So we'll see how it all plays out. It's what we all do. As we looking at today, it's likely that, maybe some whipping around kind of day. I mean, the futures yesterday were horrendous. As far as the little choppy price action that was going on there, just chopped back and forth. So, but we knew what to expect. Anyway, all yours, Dan.
Good morning. I just glanced up at my 15-minute sectors and I saw this beautiful XLD. There's been many times, based on the ebb and flow of the broader markets, we get many of the same type of setups. And what we've been getting a lot of, which is good trading, we've been very active. As we get deeper tracements, a bullish turn and different flavors, and a buy setup on the weekly. So today's Thursday. That was a nice buy on Tuesday over Monday's high. But look at this beautiful 15-minute chart. So that could be a day trade. Target 84. And let's go to earnings. Um, we did. That's not it. Yeah, we did a number of earnings trades, and marijuana was ripping yesterday. Look at these ETFs, YOLO, MJ, IIPRs. It's not an ETF. They lease land. But Tilray Dog, I'm watching. I may look to sell $2.50 puts just to give us an improved cost basis. So I'll be watching that sector. All right, earnings trades here. I did 5 myself. 5 for 5. I gave 3 to subscribers. This is one I did on my own. I did the 22.5 naked puts. So even though it's against me, I have $3. I have over 10% comfort for tomorrow. So I'm just going to be looking to close it at a penny. Be done with it. But no pattern here unless it closes bullish. Then it could be a possible W bottom, new low plus. Creams up a lot, which is that's a beautiful pattern right there. That's an inverse head and shoulders. So we were looking. Remember, Craig? I wanted to sell those 197.50s. It was kind of at the premium. It was kind of a coin toss, but that's a nice pattern. So that's the main culprit for helping the diamonds on the gap up here. Proud. This was another one I was considering. The 130s would have worked. Still range bound, nothing to do. Yeah, I just had SPX alarm go off. Now look at this, it's been in a death trend coma, so something's up. Something's up today, getting some activity, so let's watch that on a 30-minute. Put that in another window. Square. Let's see, over 58.21. We're going to buy call options. Let me set an alarm. So Square looks good. That's not an earnings trade. My alarm just went off as well. All right, postage. I had it as a 1, 2, 3, 4 bear watch. That's similar to what Greg said about D-Dog. Just chopping around here, holding strength, but now it's gapping up. No, it's earnings, so that would have messed up my trade anyway. Now, if this gives it up and trades under yesterday's low, then it could be a short maybe for next week. All right, Okta, we did this one. Let's see. What strikes did we do? I did 2 of them. Yeah, I did 60s and 59s myself, and I gave subscribers the 59s. And nice igniting gap. Look at that. You could close it at a penny if you want. Otherwise, just put a stop yesterday's low. Let it expire for max profit tomorrow. Visco 1724 bearish gap, no interest. 174. All right, I was hoping this was getting to 170. It's bouncing here a little pre-market. When I fade ugly gaps, I'm wanting the bigger the gap, the better. And I just give it this label called excessive gap and see if buyers step up, but not interested at 174. Vive. I see some prints up here, 198, which should be a bullish setup, so put spread idea. Octa, we just talked about. Ollie North, I did myself. I did the 6750s. So that I'll be looking to close at a penny or so. UBS has been on a tear, gapping up big, far from the 20. This is a gap and crap candidate and a bear call credit spread. If there's any juice for tomorrow, 30-minute low, you could do a call credit spread over the day's high. I don't see many prints here. Charlie Mike will come back to you. Dollar General, I'm putting in my category of excessive gap. I have it here in the middle chart. Now see, notice pre-market, it's nasty still. Yeah, I use pre-market charts with gap trading. Compare that pre-market to 5. See the big old difference? This gap down and buyers stepped up at 170. On Dollar General looks horrible. So we just, it don't matter. We'll just sit back and watch them. All right, this one, Hurl, I said if it opened flat, that's a classic sell setup at resistance 2050. That's just textbook sell setup. So the gap's kind of messing it up. We'll come back to you. Beaky's negated the gap down, 1480. Wow, that's a big range. Look at my horizontal line, 1480 to over 17. That thing is wild. Pre-market. Campbell Soup. Could be a failed sell setup. And I'm going to set an alarm at 4265. 4260 is fine. You know, we gave Tesla the other day. And once again, so Tesla here was another failed sell setup with a bear sandwich breakout. So that's why we gave that as a beautiful put spread the other day. PSNY, it's a grinder sell setup. So that's not quality sell setup like this other one was, Hurl. We don't like overlapping red, green. No, Sienna was the third put spread I gave to subscribers. Man, today we're getting some bullish gaps. This season though has been pretty brutal on punishing stocks, but today, other than these 3 that we're talking about, ASO, we did a put spread, we did 45s for that's one I gave subscribers. SIG. That's a sloppy, it's a turn. So this is a put spread idea, 30-minute high. Like GMS, nothing. This, I said yesterday, kind of looks like a buyout. Something's up with that, I don't like it. Momo. Look, Campbell Soup alarm. Yeah, Greg, I have a delivery here in a second, so if I say cover me, if you can cover for 2 minutes when they knock on my door. All right, see, my alarm just went off on Campbell Soup, so but you know, the more it runs, the harder it's going to be to get on board. Yeah, with Dollar Tree, yeah, with Dollar General down. Yeah, I said that Dollar Tree is getting hit. 120. It's far from the 20, but you know, we'll see if it sets up. Cal, it's a buy setup with bullish turn. This is one actually, I think I said you could trade either way over yesterday's high, long. Greg, give me 2 minutes.
I don't know what else Dan had there to report on. If anybody has questions on any open positions, throw them out there. I was just covering his ideas of the day. Just looking. Any gaps of interest? Oh,
Yeah, he's coming in and out. All right, so flowers. This would have been a continuation short, but now it's a shock pattern. So 30-minute high is a bullish setup for day trade.
all right.
Like GCO, gapping up 31.50, no pattern for me. All right, these are just other miscellaneous things. PPG. I think that was on. Yeah, we just. Oh no, that was Greg's find yesterday. Now this would have been a great entry yesterday over Tuesday's high. Alarm closing breakout in an uptrend. We traded Rocket yesterday, closing breakout, turn at the 50. Remember I said there were so many of these trades, daily, weekly, so many of them. Nice void. Shop has some news with Amazon. No trade though. That's a big wow. That's a big old gap. 30-minute low might be a call, a 1DT call spread. Another beautiful turn on Frog with a downside shakeout. That was a beautiful entry yesterday over Tuesday's high. Beautiful trade right there. That was on Sam's list, but you know, I hate chasing TTD up 2 bars, but you know, as a boy, Costco had some numbers. Their monthly, you know, whatever it is, sales numbers over yesterday's high. Like this is a put spread. All right, slide up alarm. We have a half lot 4 long on this. Let me set a new alarm. Well, that Chewy's getting punished. I still have a huge open profit. I'm just not getting filled at my penny. Amba up alarm. All right, I got out of my Chewy. Wow, had a nice profit. All right, I got an alarm on that. Yeah, Oracle's on my list. Yeah, Oracle looks good. Yeah, 2 downside shakeouts, kind of a bull flag on the weekly. Dan Niles was on. I'm talking about this. He liked it. he also, he's just buying the usual suspects. He says he's doubling down on Meta and Google and Amazon. It's in the video, same old that everybody does. But one interesting thing that he did say that I kind of liked, he said Intel could be an AI catch-up trade with NVIDIA. All right, remember what I said? If postage gave it up, it was a sell setup. Problem is it fell too hard. Zulu Sierra. Yeah, there's a gap breakout, sure. Yeah, Zulu Sierra looks good. Dollar General middle chart, some buying there, but I'm not rushing into it. 5, see the bottom right, the buying came in, but still I don't see any pattern. Square alarm. We're going to do long calls. $56 calls for 2 weeks.